Today's road less explored adventure starts out in Las Vegas. We drive out to the Hoover Dam and take a look at this amazing construction. From there we travel to the Grand Canyon West, where we stop at the Skywalk and then continue on to Guano Point. After taking in the canyon, we make a quick stop at the Joshua Tree Forest. We then drive down to the bottom of the canyon and stop at the old Pierce Ferry to dip our toes in the Colorado River. Our last stop is at the South Cove Marina, where we drive down the boat launch to look at Lake Mead before heading back to Las Vegas. We left the bright lights of Las Vegas early in the morning and headed towards the mountains. After passing Boulder City, we stopped at the first opportunity we had to take a look at the great Lake Mead. So we've just stopped at the first scenic outlook on our way, and behind me over there is Lake Mead. So we're going to carry on down the way and have a closer look. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here at the Memorial Bridge parking lot and take a walk over the Memorial Bridge. We're then going to drive down over the wall, and then we will stop over here at this parking lot and take a walk back over the dam wall. So we're on the bridge that crosses the Colorado River, and behind me is Hoover Dam. Being able to see this historic landmark is breathtaking. The sheer scale of the wall, amazing. We just stood here for a while and took it all in.
So this is looking back on the bridge that we stood on earlier this morning, and way down there is the bottom of the Hoover Dam. These big steel plates on the spillway expand with the heat, and when they do, they give a loud cracking noise that reverberates down the spillway.
Just as we were about to leave Hoover Dam, we noticed these mountain goats on the side of the road. They were perfectly camouflaged and very difficult to see. Most people just drove past without even noticing them. We drove back onto the highway and continued down the road, stopping at the scenic overlooks on the way to enjoy the great views that there were on this road. Eventually we turned off the highway and into the small town of Dolan Springs. Further down the road we started to see the Grand Canyon in the distance, and soon arrived at the entrance to the Grand Canyon West. We entered the big white tent where we purchased our tickets and hopped onto the bus that took us to the Skywalk.
So we've made it to the famous Grand Canyon.
This was the first time that we had seen the Grand Canyon, and the sheer scale of the mountains had us in awe. Unfortunately, the Skywalk does not allow personal devices, and we were not allowed to take our video camera, which was a real disappointment to us. We took a quick walk through some of the displays, and then took the bus to Guano Point. Guano Point allowed us to get a little closer to the edge of the Grand Canyon. We followed the path along the edge of the canyon until we reached the old cable car head house at the edge of Guano Point. The views of the Grand Canyon from Guano Point are truly amazing. Climbed to the top of the stone hill and were able to get a full 360-degree view of the canyon. Temperatures well above 110 F, we decided to head back to the truck and continue our drive. But before we left Grand Canyon West, we made a quick stop at Hualapai Point. We left Grand Canyon West and then headed back on the road, stopping at the Joshua Tree Forest. There is a well-marked loop that allows you to take a short walk between these amazing trees that can be hundreds of years old. We hit the road again, and eventually the asphalt gave way to dirt road. Now those of us who grew up driving dirt roads know that the best adventures can always be found at the end of the dirt road, and Pierce Ferry Road did not disappoint. As we drove down between the canyons, the views of the mountains and ravines was exquisite, and I would highly recommend that if you can, you take a drive down this amazing road. We eventually found the old Pierce Ferry, where the road abruptly stopped at the edge of the Colorado River.
We made it to the Colorado River.
We turned round and headed back up the road when we noticed that there were some sediment lines on some of the hills.
We stopped here quickly to take a look. This used to be underwater in Lake Mead, and now we're driving on a road along the side.
We explored a few of the ravines in the area and then drove up onto the hillside and looked down on the road we had travelled on earlier. As we were about to leave, we noticed this little opening in the hillside.
So this is the cap house that was built to store dynamite. And look, there's a rabbit just inside the door.
We finally drove back up the dirt road, and once back on the asphalt, headed down to the South Cove boat launch. We drove down the boat launch, but quickly realized that with the water levels in Lake Mead being so low, the concrete launch was no longer in use. We turned around and took a small dirt road which led us to the water's edge.
So all of this was underwater. If you look over there, you can see the old launch, boat launch, and now the boat launch has been moved all the way down to there. It's really amazing to see how much water is missing out of Lake Mead.
It was already late in the afternoon, and we had a long way to drive to get back to Las Vegas. We left this amazing place, inspired by its rugged beauty.